Well, good morning. I want to thank all of you who are joining this live stream at this time. I want to say God bless you. I'm very sorry we're starting late. That is just because we had issues trying to get into our page. And I want to seize this opportunity to thank one of my friends and brothers from the Philippines who helped me to regain access by, I wouldn't explain further. Fellow Southern Cameroonians, once you join, you share this show extensively. Let's have everybody on board. Today I'm going to address specifically some of the issues that must be of the greatest concern to you. And it's important for us to let the international community to understand how much we have taken from this genocidal government in Yaoundé. As you are all aware, the Minister of Defense of La République du Cameroon has issued two separate contradictory communiques following the death or the killing of 48 of our compatriots, many of them our children, babies, that were slaughtered, butchered, burnt alive by the regime of Mr. Pobia in Yaoundé. Please, as you join, you share. I was playing this beautiful music from Ndonga Mandong, and I know how bad it can be, not just for the people of Ntumba, precisely Ngabu, where this Boko Haram type massacre took place, but for everyone who is a Southern Cameroonian. As you join the show, you share extensively, you click on like, and you can hashtag I am Ngabu. Ngabu, like you must have seen on my wall, is spelled Ngah-BUH. And people might have other spellings, but that's what I got from the cultural guys down there in Dongamanto. Please, you can also follow this page as you're watching. If you're not following yet, you can see there's a blue indication that follow, because it's just a new page we have created. And we're very happy that many of you are following. So the hashtag is going to be Ngabu. Ngabu is spelled Ngah-BUH. So it's one word. All right, without said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to once more play just a part of this music while you populate the platform, share extensively, and then I'll start this show proper in the next 30 seconds. Thank you. Just keep sharing. All right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Southern Cameroonians. Just for the records, my name is Eric Tataw, and I'm sorry that, just for the records, my name is Eric Tataw, and of course, today I'm going to reply categorically to La République du Cameroon's Minister of Defense, Betty Joseph Assomo, who has issued two separate communiques, two releases, talking about what he described as an accident after his soldiers killed at least just a minute, please. So Betty Asson issued a communique claiming that was in the first communique, to be precise, that just 4 persons were killed, 1 woman and 4 children, and this was due to an explosion following gun exchanges between Ambazonian fighters and soldiers of La République du Cameroun. And the minister went ahead to lie that they had petrol fear. That is why there was that explosion, and it resulted to, as well, to the burning of some houses. And unfortunately, I think the blood of Little Matter that was killed in Moyoka on the 11th of February, or rather May 20th, if I'm not mistaken, it should be May 20th, is still haunting the government of Cameroon, that little child. Fellow Southern Cameroonians, you should be aware of the fact that God has planned our lives. Little Matter was killed on a significant date that cannot be forgotten, 20th of May. And here we are on the 14th of February, Valentine's Day. And that was quite early on Valentine's Day, when these, our children, our pregnant wives, in-laws, our fathers, brothers and sisters were still sleeping, that the soldiers of Cameroon, La République du Cameroon, came in the night like Boko Haram elements, which of course they are. They made sure they slammed at every door in Ngabu, pulled out children and their mothers and their parents, shot them and killed them. As a matter of fact, one eyewitness told me yesterday that the 4-month-old baby that was killed was actually, the mother was breastfeeding that child at that time. And the government of Cameroon instructed its soldiers to raid that village and kill innocent, unarmed civilians. They raided the village unprovoked and killed our people. Fellow Southern Cameroonians, this is a wake-up call for all and sundry to understand that the government of La République du Cameroon is out to completely wipe out anybody who was born a Southern Cameroonian. But like Honorable Weber said, that they will not be able to dissolve the 2 cubes of sugar. Fellow Southern Cameroonians, Minister Betty Asson, again, after the failed communique to convince the international community that only 5 persons were killed, 4 children and a woman, from an accident, what he called an explosion, he has again removed a second communique contradicting himself and the entire government of Paul Biya Bimvondo by saying that what is seen on social media is sheer propaganda, and that anybody, or rather that those are trumped-up charges to blackmail and tarnish the reputation of the Cameroon Defense Forces, that are known and are reputable at the level of the international community. The minister went on in the second communique to threaten that he will personally drag anybody to court who is caught spreading that rumor. We have both communiques. But the first communique, the minister admitted that government forces were involved, but rather tried to shift the blame to the space by saying that it was some kind of a collateral damage and that no government forces were targeting civilians. But again, in the new communique, he completely refuses that these government forces were involved. And this is the most interesting part. I'm happy that the Catholic Church has an eye on it and has reacted. We are happy that the UN has also reacted. We are happy at every reaction and the solidarity that we've given the people of Ndonga-Manto and the solidarity that the world at large has given the people of Ambazonia. Fellow Southern Cameroonians and our partners at the international level, the government of Cameroon is a well-known liar. They are very seasoned in lies telling. It took me 4 days as an investigative journalist known for his investigative prowess and with the penchant to deliver only actual news to its audience to come out with the complete number of persons that were killed. Soldiers did not only end in Ngabo, they moved into a bush house a little bit further away that some villagers, probably we didn't get their exact identity. They were hiding in the bushes because of the insecurity in their own villages and probably also some from Ngabo. These people were also massacred. 5 other children were killed. This finally brings the total amount of children to 17 as at now. We are still looking very closely and following closely to ensure that we authenticate the figures. But for now, at least 48 persons have been killed. According to our sources, the military personally dug up a grave where those who were killed in the bushes were buried. We are trying to make sure that we locate so that we can report to authorities to go out there for investigation. It is a shame that I'm going to be playing an audio here. I want to thank the BBC for reaching out to some civilians, some affected persons, some survivors, victims of the trauma, and relatives of family members who were killed in the raid. To me, and like to many of you who are watching the show, it is no surprise that the government of Cameroon killed 48 of our people on Valentine's Day. They have done it before. They are masters. The government of Cameroon is a master in beheading people. The government of Cameroon is a master of raping our people. The government of Cameroon has a mastery of killing children. It is not the first time. It is not the second. Remember the incident in Tiben around Widikum where a teacher was wiped out, killed with his entire family. It's not the first time. The first time I ever saw defense forces that are supposed to protect their citizens killing and cutting off the heads of civilians was in the case of Sam Sawyer. Sam Sawyer was not only physically challenged, but he was also constrained by the much needed freedom of speech in Ambazonia. And when he was arrested, he gave up himself to the military voluntarily. But what did they do? You capture a physically challenged individual. You tie his hands, blindfold his eyes, and cut his neck like a pig. The government of Cameroon did not only start burning people in Gabu. Nobody is surprised, because it's their trademark. It's a characteristic of that government. Betty Asomo should know that he's been a vividly wicked person from the time he headed the littoral region. It is not today. And Paul Biya is very keen on appointing people or promoting people who are wicked, and that can suck blood to protect his presidency. It's the same situation with Jeran Gala, a son from Dongamanto, who was taking breakfast, drinking milk, and bragging on Equinox television how his own division, for us Ambazonians we call it county, is much stable. But before it was long, reports were filtering all across social media with pictures of young children that have been massacred as young as 4 months. It's a pity, a serious pity, that the government of Cameroon has defined itself as a killer of children, a killer of toddlers, a killer of women, a killer of pregnant women, a killer of young girls, a killer of teachers, a killer of doctors, a killer of aid workers, a killer of missionaries, a killer of foreigners, a killer of animals, a killer of pigs, dogs, goats. The government of Cameroon is sincerely enjoying how our people are being killed. Look at what Valentine's Day means. You can look it up. No need to belabor the point. And to think that a government would choose a day as significant as Valentine's Day to kill our people. Look at what happened with the young woman and her daughter who were killed while they were going to bury their husband somewhere around Momo in Widikum. We are not surprised that Betty Asomo and his entire military gang are more Boko Haram than even the terrorist group. That is why we are urging all partners of international peace, justice, security to boycott any sort of sponsorship or support to Cameroon in the name of the fact that they are fighting against terrorism. No, the government of Cameroon itself is a terror. The government is a complete terror. The fact that the military could have intercepted United Nations humanitarian aid workers while they were on their way to Ngabu to do a need assessment, it should be enough reason for the world to understand how barbaric this government is being. It is not the first time they are lying. I do not expect less from the Minister of Defense, Betty Asomo. They lie and they continuously lie. When Charles Truman Westcott was killed, brutally murdered by the Cameroon military, Issa Chuma then Minister of Communication, told the press that it was an albino. They also killed Father Alexander Sop in Moyoka, killed Reverend Isaac Ato in Batibo, and they have killed many other foreigners, including the Kenyan priest that was brutally murdered in Kembong in Manyu County or Manyu Division. You remember what Churuma said to the BBC, that it was separatists were responsible. The same Betty Asomo, who is known for lies telling, significant lies telling, wrote in one of his communiques that that priest in Kembong was killed by Eric Tataw. My name was officially highlighted in that document. But the Bishop of Mamfe, the then Bishop of Mamfe, now the Apostolic Administrator of the Diocese of Mamfe and Archbishop of the Bamenda Metropolitan Archdiocese, Monseigneur Andrew Fonyankea, told the BBC that the Cameroon government was responsible for the systematic killing of the Kenyan priests. Kenyans have demanded for investigation. The US has also suspended Cameroon from AGOA and also cut military aid to that particular military. What we now urge the international community to do is to understand that there is no truth that has ever come out from the mouth of the Cameroon government, especially the wicked lying Minister of Defense, Betty Asomo. And I will tell you people with reasons. Even a May election that was boycotted, heavily boycotted by people of southern Cameroon, you can see the figures have been fixed, increased. Remember that fake elections observer were caught in Cameroon, and all of them were hired by the Cameroon government. It is a shame that Betty Asomo was short-sighted, that most of these children were going to school in GS Ngabo 3. You must have seen a list. The school has produced a list of 12 kids that were murdered. Most of them from the Sika family. They were killed in cold blood. Some of them were breastfeeding. Others were in their sleep. You pulled a child. So you killed this child even before he or she was killed. Fellow Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, I want you to listen to me. And this should be a take-home message to the government of Cameroon. We are not also scared to kill your own children. But it's because we are not terrorists like you. We know where all your kids go to school. In Limbe, in Tiko, even in Dongamanto. We know where all of them go to school. But Ambazonians do not have the habit of killing children because we will not behave like the satanic regime in Yaoundé. Let me mention here to the Minister of Defense that you have to kill all of us to be able to take our territory. And to the international community, those who missed out, let me play this audio to you so that you will listen to what the BBC interviewed, because that is, of course, just a fraction of the many people who talk to us. I've spoken with more than 50 civilians from that area. I spoke even with the head of the UN humanitarian services that went to Ngabo, Mr. Mark Andrew Pedersen. I spoke with him yesterday while he was in Kumbu. And he described the situation as horrible, but insisted that they didn't go for any investigation, but to do a neat assessment. How crazy can it be that soldiers, after killing 48 of our people, could still block humanitarian aid from getting to those who were sick, those who were wounded, butchered? It shows you how crooked, wicked, desperate this regime has become. But I can assure Mr. Bia, I can assure you Betty Asomo, Ngala Gerard, and the rest of you sucking blood and working your political games on the lives of our people, the lives of our children, that you will not have your way in Ambazonia. I must insist that you have to kill everybody, including all of us in the diaspora, to take our land. You killed our children, murder pregnant women, rape the girls, shoot them after having slept with them. We have taken enough of your excesses. We are going to match words with action. 3 years today, despite hostility from fellow Ambazonians about my stance on kicking out the Francophones, which I'm repeating on this reply to the Minister of Defense of La République du Cameroon. Today, most, if not all Ambazonians have come to agree that this young man, Eric Tataw, was after all right. Even those who use it as a conspiracy theory to try to blackmail me and cause hate, stir hate amongst my very good compatriots, lovers of this revolution. Today they have come back to hold that point right in front of their hands and staring it with their eyes. I urge all Francophones to leave our land. You are not leaving because we hate you, but because we have an emergency situation. Our borders are porous, and we have had significant betrayals from people who are not part of us, who do not understand our culture. We want you to go, and you come back on either visa-free or visa basis based on the constitution of the newly created Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Of course, we are very good people, hospitable, and very welcoming. The Nigerians living around the Ekok-Ikom border will tell you of our hospitality. Same like some Nigerians living around Sabongari, even those who are, of course, in Bakassi, will tell you that Ambazonians are one of the most hospitable people in the world. Therefore, asking you to leave should not be interpreted as xenophobic or trying to kick you out. But we're in a war situation and there's complete chaos, and we demand you leave for your own security and for the fact that we will not stand you disrespecting the laws of our war while they kill our people. We will not. For now, we consider you as allies to the regime, and that is why we are asking you softly to exit to your own territory until we make mandatory borders and pass procedures for you to be able to come back to Ambazonia. In the meantime, Ambazonians who are seeking refuge in La République du Cameroon, you are international refugees. Let me put it that way. So you have the right to come back to your country or still continually serve heavens over there. Whatever be the case, the intention of the move is, without doubt, to ensure that the international community should understand how much we are hurt in this circumstance. I have cried, and I can still cry, not because I'm weak, but because our people have been killed in their numbers. I'll give you a few instances. The government of Cameroon understands the game of killing and burning our people. And please, let us all know, do not downplay the figure of our brothers and sisters killed in Gambo. There are 48, not 35, not 40, not 47. There are 48. I have counted, I've spoken with sources, and that figure is very, very authentic. Betty Asomo, you said in your first communique that it was exchanges between Cameroon soldiers, the brutal Boko Haram soldiers of your country, and our freedom fighters. But I have to prove you wrong. We have eyewitness reports from the ground that show that you all are liars in your country. I am not surprised. Give me a minute. I'm going to pull that audio on. So we'll listen to this. And this is a report courtesy BBC. You have read what National Telegraph has written. You have read what Voice of America has written. You have read even what the Wimbo people said. And I'm going to bring all of those. You must have seen the list of toddlers who were killed. And these children were supposed to go to school on Monday. You asked children to go to school. You asked those who are in the bushes to leave the bushes and come to your houses. And even these nonsense children who thought they were coming because they thought somehow they could have a future going to school. What did you do? You came in the night on Valentine's Day and you massacre our people. I will play this audio. Take a listen.
As were deep asleep when soldiers stormed Ngarbu, some 180 kilometers from the northwest regional capital Bamenda. They were attacked with fire, gunshots, and machetes. Survivors and relatives of the nearly 35 persons now believed to have been killed have compelling testimonies.
Some were shot, some were butchered with knives, some were burned in their houses, and many people were wounded. And those who even escaped to the bushes, bullets caught them. They were picking some of the corpses even yesterday morning. That particular day, they counted on the ground 27 corpses, and at yesterday, and it moved to 85 people. There are still some people still missing. They don't know whether they have been killed. They are still counting their dead.
We are in a war zone. And if one of the members of this, my own family, maybe was a kind of being in that other camp, that is the Amber fighters, I would have said maybe that is the reason. But nothing completely, none of them. And more to that, it's not only boys that were killed. Out of the 9 in my own family that were killed, one struggled to escape, who was a boy. The rest were from about 12 years old and below. The last born of this, my sister, was 4 months old. With the mother who was breastfeeding her, they were all shot in front of the house. And then now when they set the house ablaze, it burned the feet of the mother. And my sister is a female. The daughter too, who has 6 children, of whom all of them were being burned, were being killed and burned. She's also a female. They were not involved in any kind of attack so much so that this thing can happen. But the truth is that the Fulanis accompanied the military and then they went there and did their.
We are broken down. We are completely broken. Our feeling is that the other one, when they should look into what the government is doing and help us, because that's not the only killing. They are killing people around, randomly.
The Minister of Defense has today downplayed the number of deaths, saying only 1 woman and 4 children died from an explosion of fuel stocked by Ambazonia fighters. According to Minister Joseph Betty Asomo, 7 terrorists were killed. He also blames the explosion for the houses burned. The head of the UN Humanitarian Affairs in the region, Jack Andrew Pendleton.
Well, I think that these situations need more verification, and I believe that a very serious investigation should begin as soon as possible. This needs to be investigated, this needs to be understood, and it needs to stop now.
Such incidents are very challenging to humanitarian work in the region where access to women and children who need assistance is very difficult. Jack Andrew Pendleton again.
It brings a new dimension to the work because the people in northwest Cameroon are severely traumatized. It's become a very psychological challenge for any humanitarian to work with all the victims and survivors of this conflict because the socio-economic and psychological impact here in the northwest of Cameroon is deep and is broad as any place I've ever worked, and I've worked in 14 war zones around the world.
This latest attack is just one in a series of burnings and killings as soldiers pursue their campaign to wipe out Ambazonia Republic fighters.
We're going to have a minute of silence for our 48 compatriots that have been brutally killed by the Republic of Cameroon. Thank you. Let me state this, and let me say it categorically clear to the Minister of Defense and anybody who is collaborating with that regime, that the order is on, and latest by the end of this month, if you are from French Cameroon and you don't leave our territory, we are going to force you out of it. There are clear instructions for Ambazonian Defense Forces, clear instructions from Ambazonian Restoration Forces, clear instructions to all defense groups that are defending Ambazonia to henceforth, from the 1st of March, to ensure that all properties belonging to French Cameroonians still in our territory should be seized. They will no longer sell in our markets. Their children will no longer attend our schools. They will no longer go to our churches. We will no longer need them in our hospitals. They will no longer take money in our banks. They will no longer buy food in our markets. Anything that has to do with socio-economic life, we will not participate, communion with them in this effect. And any government official, even our own persons, who will still be holding some of these officials within their quarters and houses, they will be shown the door out of Ambazonia. It's as serious as this. I said this over 3 years ago. The need for the Francophones to leave. And they must leave. If all of us will have to go to court for violation of human rights, when we get there, we will be asking the UN and other parties involved that did you have to wait for 15,000 of our people to be killed before you drag us both to court? Fellow Southern Cameroonians, the government of Cameroon should know by now that they have a new name, which is their original name, La République du Cameroun. You remember, they were never called La République du Cameroun, but today there is that distinction. The appellation shows there are two separate countries. Dates of acquiring independence, two separate countries. The flag, language, culture, courts, educational curriculum, two separate countries. Let it be known to the Cameroon government that they don't have monopoly of killing children. But because we will not subscribe to the latitude of embezzlers of human lives, we will stay by the conduct of the war. That is why we are asking Francophones to leave our land in peace before the 1st of March. From the 1st of March, any Francophone that is seen within Ambazonia and without a permit from competent Ambazonian authorities will be taken as a prisoner of war. Your properties will be seized and redistributed amongst the suffering Southern Cameroonians. This is not a joke. Today, I instruct you on ground zero, those of you fighters, take over anything that belongs to a Francophone in your land. It's your right. That is the way forward. All of them should leave. If they live in peace, after we have set our international boundaries, officially, we will now look at who had properties in Southern Cameroon and who had properties in La République du Cameroun. This will be sorted at the international level where we will do business as partners. I also want to address this fact. For the people of Ngabo, all of you in Donga Manto, do not raise a finger against our Muslim brothers. This is what the government of Cameroon expects, to divert our attention so that it will be a kind of interreligious or intertribal war. No. We will continuously study the potential danger that some of the misled Fulani groups can pose to the Ambazonian community before we take action. For now, I urge every one of us to climb down, stand down. You have to know that our communities are mixed. We are one of those countries where both Muslims and Christians are respected. In the whole of our areas, we have mosques, we have Muslim friends, and we will not take the plot of the Cameroon government to set us up against our Muslim brothers to start saying that it is a war against the Mborogos. No, it is not. We know there are some few of them who have had excesses, but these excesses are greatly promoted by the government of Cameroon. I'll give you an example. The situation in Menchum, in Wum, where government soldiers were filming Muslims holding machetes, looking for normal Christian civilians to be killed. They want us to engage into a religious war so that it will become an internal issue. No. We will systematically deal with a lot of professionalism, of course, deal with the situation between our Muslim brothers and our Christian brothers, like it has happened in the case of Ngabu. We'll try to reconcile ourselves. Another point that I must make is the issue of the Bambelekis, some of whom were born in Ambazonia. And by virtue of that fact, they are Ambazonians. We are building a community that is full of love, law, and therefore, while we take extreme measures, we must also make extreme considerations. Bambelekis are not our enemies. We have our brothers who were born, raised in that area, and automatically they are Southern Cameroonians. They contribute to the revolution. We will only study those of Bambeleki origin, but naturalized Ambazonian citizens by birth or parental upbringing. We'll study them to know if they have the potential to sell our soldiers to La Republic fighters or soldiers before we can take action. For now, I urge all fighters to live in peace with our Bambeleki brothers born in Southern Cameroon. Protect them like they will protect Ambazonians who are Ambazonians. It is imperative for us not to fall into the trap of fighting a war at several fronts. We will not underestimate the dubious, complicated mechanism of the Cameroon government to stir a kind of Bambeleki Ambazonian war or Muslim Ambazonian war. We must all avoid it. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Southern Cameroonians, all Francophones will leave, but with the exception of our brothers who were born and who have respected and contributed to our revolution. May I now address one final issue. Those of our brothers who have been convinced, a few of them, been convinced to go to La République du Cameroun centers, what they call DDR. You must be aware by now that the government of Cameroon has set up structures where they intend to strategize and host ex-Ambazonian fighters. This commission, led by Fayongo Francis, must be made to the best of the understanding of our boys. But before I get there, there is news that is all over social media on how a Tanganji is making sure that he comes out with a video to cause some boys to pose as though they are Ambazonian fighters in order to disturb. Just a minute. Thank you. In order to disturb the narrative at the level of the international community. We will be looking out for that video. And it's important that whether or not it's true, it's very vital that that alarm has been raised. Because a Tanganji is capable of doing same. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Southern Cameroonians, for the few of our ex-fighters who claim to have joined La République du Cameroon, they now lodge you in what they call their DDR dormitories. They show some of you cooking arrow and seemingly living like children in the Presbyterian Girls' School or students in the Presbyterian Girls' School in Limbe. I understand your complaints. You have the right to feel bad. True enough, some of you were abandoned by us in the diaspora. And we understand what you are going through. We want to thank you for your time and to tell you that though you are there, you must remain focused and resist any chance by the government of Cameroon to indoctrinate you into convincing your own brothers who are defending homeland. Be in their midst like the Joseph. Get their secrets and sell it to us. But let me tell you, for those of you still in the bushes, thousands of you fighting for the liberation of homeland, you have made the best choice. Because Cameroon, La République du Cameroon, will never defeat you. That is why they only aim at killing children, babies. You remember the 14 innocent civilians recently killed in Bekora Barombe. Over 22 in Bababok, in Kupe Maninguba. What about those who were killed in Bole, Tiben, Kembong? A lot of these places we have seen where they have slaughtered our brothers and sisters, mothers and children. The situation has been same in Maotu, in Ekata, in Boya. Everywhere, the military is killing us. They are not killing the fighters. They are killing innocent civilians, unprovoked, in Munyange as well. So your sacrifices have been noticed. You have made the right choice. And I will explain to you why. For those who have joined the faith center for they call it DDR, I will tell you one thing. I cannot blame you, but I want to explain to you politely why you are short-sighted. I can assure you that you are under the radar, and most of you will probably not live long. This is what the government of Cameroon does. Some of the food you eat, some of them must have been touched with some kind of poisonous substance, I suspect. I don't have any confirmation yet. Because they know that someday you might become radical and go back to taking the guns. And so they are probably giving you some toxic substance that will make you last for probably just 2 or 3 years. Some of you will fall sick and then you will die, and you will think that it's a natural thing. But because as they have as I've confided you people, in those centers, some of you eat sardine and bread, rice. You cook with the pots that they buy. You use the water that they give you. The government of Cameroon is not stupid. Yes, they are not stupid. If they can beat prisoners, take a prisoner from Konengi, go to Set, lock them up, beat them up, remove their teeth. You can imagine, you who is a fighter, who has seen the guns before, you can be rest assured, 99% of you are already walking cops or corpses. Trust me on this. 99% of those of you in those centers, you people, your health have been compromised. Yes, they must have given you poison or something. I'm sure about that. So this is a message to any other Ambazonian fighter that you do not need to come and join La République du Cameroun. Stay safe, help will come. That is why we are putting together the Dark Project. The Dark Project is an open, apolitical platform where we'll have many Ambazonians contribute. The team has had a first meeting and they are working on it to ensure that much contributions will come in so that we'll start have tips coming to some of you fighters. You have some rice to eat and you have a lot to save your humanitarian needs. Fellow Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, we must all wake up. Cameroon has killed us enough. And we have refused to let them know that we don't know what they want. For our fighters who are still in the bushes, let me tell you why you are heroes. And for those who are in those confinement centers, those poison barracks, it is not too late. Go and check yourselves. But I can assure you that they have it all planned out. Their doctors will be told to ensure that they give you a good result. As you are aware, a case of coronavirus, or probably cases of coronavirus, have been reported in Douala. As a matter of fact, 2 of the doctors who spoke to me told me how dangerous it is for Cameroon, La République du Cameroun. But do you know why the Ministry of Health has said nothing about it? Because they know they're already in much trouble. And coronavirus, if confirmed, they are afraid to confirm what I'm saying. And they are trying to ignore it. But in the days ahead, they should make a statement if the thing is a lie. Remember, when National Telegraph investigated children who were being made to go blind from a vaccine that was being given in hospitals in Douala and Yaoundé, what happened? 3 days after, because we had all those hard evidence, the minister or Ministry of Public Health issued a communique and took away that drug from the market. Today, we are blowing the second alarm on coronavirus in Douala. Therefore means that you have to be careful the way you go out in Douala, those of you who are IDPs or refugees. Protect yourselves. There is coronavirus in Douala. That was just an aside. Now I get back to my message. I was talking about the fact that those of you who are still holding guns, defending homeland, you have understood the mission of Ambazonia. Those of you who are in those poison centers, you have lost the mission. Please, may I take a few seconds to say that if you are joining us, As you can see on this page, you have somewhere that they say follow Eric Tataw. Just click on that follow button and then make sure you share. Then you click on like and then you write on the comment section, I am Ngabu. Make sure you write as many times I am Ngabu in solidarity with the people of Ngabu. Let me say this, and I will say it very clearly to you. The advantages of you staying in the bushes are overwhelming. You see, the government of Cameroon, the Republic of Cameroon, is like a short race. They believe in short-term achievement. They don't forecast. If you are in those centers, you have not understood the mission of Ambazonia. After you must have had some rice, gari, and sleep in some bunk beds. That will be all. But those who are fighting, they have understood 1 million things that Ambazonia can offer. Number one, you are fighting for an Ambazonia, not for yourselves, but an Ambazonia where your children will enjoy. Is for posterity. Please, we are not putting any cash up. This show is essentially a reply to the Minister of Defense of La République du Cameroon. Listen very attentively. We are fighting for an Ambazonia where nobody will be able to go kill young children. Brothers and sisters, have you ever asked yourselves, those of you who have gone to the poison camps called DDR, have you asked yourself, what next? Ask yourself this question. What next? After the DDR, there is nothing. You cannot have no good jobs. You cannot do nothing with Cameroon. But let me tell you what will happen when Ambazonia will be liberated. We are going to have jobs per hour. It's standardized because we have the wealth. And that is why you are fighting. You are going to have paid holidays, maternity leave, emergency services, big surgery units, good universities, good roads. You are going to have an excellent insurance policy. You are going to have the potential to have a big, good house, even when you don't have money to pay cash. You are going to have an helicopter come and evacuate you when you are sick and desperate for help. You are going to have a police looking at the supermarket 24/7. You are going to have police that will not ask you for 500 francs before you carry your goods to your next village. You are going to have a jail cell where everything is going, your rights are going to be respected even when you're a prisoner. Not jail cells or not jail rooms where you're going to be molested. You're going to have health insurance for your children, grandchildren. Social security benefit. That is what you're fighting for. Those of you in Dian, you are going to manage your oil. Those of you in Kupe Maninguba, you are going to manage your lakes, your dense forests, your timber. Those of you in Manu, you manage your plantains, your timber, your gold. Those of you in Fako, you'll be able to determine the price of your banana, your plantain, your rubber. Those of you in Menchum, you'll be able to say how you want to generate electricity from the dams, how you want to sell your bauxite. Those of you in the BLM Boyo, Momo, Mezam, Ngokutunja. Ngokutunja, you will not be supplying the Bafanji Dam. The Bafanji Dam will not be supplying electricity to La République du Cameroon while your people stay in darkness. No. We are going to celebrate long years, anniversaries of no electricity failure. We are going to have a country where you take 2 hours to register your business, 3 hours to open a bank account for that business, where you have tax exemptions, where no taxation officer will come and harass you and shut down your business because you have not paid your tax or taxes. Ambazonia is yours to win. Look at the long-term goals. Beautiful hospitals. Look at how many people dream to come to America. But we dream to come to Ambazonia now. Because I see the vision of a country that would be a prototype of the United States of America, Great Britain, Dubai, and all the best countries in the world that you can imagine. Yes, we have a skyscraper taller than Burj Khalifa in UAE. We have the most intelligent people in the world. The system is clear. We have people who are schooled. We have the best airports. A bus system for those who cannot have transportation on their own. We will pave the road for our disabled people to be able to use their machine wheelchairs. Build bus stands. Good banks. Good banking system. Get partners. Good pay. Where the military will be honored because they don't kill civilians. That is the country we dream. Ask around those in America, England, Ireland, Dubai, everywhere. We want to come back home. That is why we are still talking. Because we have a conviction. The territory is won already. It's our victory. Yes, they will kill us. They might kill some more. But we will not take another Ngabu. Ambazonia will be the best country in the world. We'll have a country where the government will pay you taxes for working. Where there will be competition in the media landscape. Freedom of speech. Where you can drag a magistrate to court and win the case. Where no policeman will harass you, assault you. A country where no parliamentarian will come last and go first on the counter to be served. A country where you have equal rights. Children of rich, poor will go to same schools if they deem it necessary. They'll have the same opportunity of jobs. Where you can be an IT technician in 6 months and you earn thousands of Ambazonian dollars or whatever we want to call our currency. Fellow Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, thank you. Thank you so much. Especially the fighters. Those of you who have remained confident. We must all understand that our differences are unique and should be our strength instead. In the meantime, while I pass this message, I will continuously urge those within our cycles to be watchful of anything that will cause a downplay on the confidence of our people. Therefore, those within areas where finances are handled must show enough accountability to our people. We are building trust, and trust is returning to the revolution. As a matter of fact, trust has returned. That is your country. A country where the people of Indian will have their own state ID or county ID, number plates, beautiful cars, good roads. Once more, I want to thank you immensely for coming out to listen to me. There's a lot I can say, but I'll just go through my agenda to ensure that I didn't miss out on anything. One very important thing is this picture that is being circulated. That is not Ngabo. It's a fake picture. And I think this is done by La République because they are trying to put it out there so that when you share it and they can use it to say, okay, you see, even the picture that they are sharing is a fake picture. So we have to be careful. Please. I want to thank the UN for expressing concern over the deaths of our brothers and sisters, 48 of them. We also want to thank Catholic bishops who have also written an open letter to Mr. Pobia. And I will take 2 minutes to address the Catholic bishop and I end the show. I want to thank the people of that's the Wimbom Cultural Group. I'm just going to the Wimbom Cultural and Development Association, known as WACODA. Thank you so much for lighting candles on behalf of our beloved ones killed by the Cameroon soldiers. I want to thank the UN Humanitarian Service that braved the odds and insecurity to go all the way down there to Ngabo. It was a long journey. We also want to thank GS Ngabo 3 for producing this list of some of the young children who were killed by the Cameroon military. I think basically, by now the world knows that the Cameroon government is responsible for all the deaths that have been happening around our territory. Over 14,000 or more, 15,000 or thereabout of our people have already been killed. I will just give you a small anecdote to tell you why it is a kind of targeted killings. If you hear all reports that happen, it's either they are killing soldiers, it's either they're killing, rather, Ambazonians, unarmed civilians, or they are killing foreigners. You've never heard where the soldiers kill French Cameroonians. They select, they target only us and kill us. I'll end there. But to conclude, we want to thank Catholic bishops and their concern for the government of Cameroon to join the Swiss-led initiative. I'll end this show with my stance on the Swiss issue. This is what I think. A lot of people have called me after my analysis on why I think Switzerland can do nothing. But for one reason or the other, I would rather prefer to leave it for the next time. I want to thank you all for watching. God bless you, and in my next show, I will talk about it. Bye for now.